they didn't play for free. They gave them like $5,000.
Oh, really?
So it's not like they got nothing to begin with, but they do. I mean, I also remember, you have a lot of interesting storylines that you don't get in college. I remember Deshaun Watson's senior year in high school. They told us, they said, these two teams, these two head coaches genuinely do hate each other. I mean, like, really hate each other. And I remember, I was like, I'm sure they're playing it up for TV, and they weren't. I remember Deshaun Watson's coach had him run a quarterback sneak on 4th and goal in the fourth quarter with them up 67-0.
Wow.
And I'm like, they really do hate each other.
Yeah. No
Wow.
doubt. Wow, some interesting
That's
insight.
some good insight.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It just goes to show you that you don't know a lot of the things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I do remember I got to meet, and I was around Kim Diche for a little bit.
Yeah, Robert
And I was
Kimdichi,
like,
yeah.
Man, I was like, maybe I'm wrong, but I said, this guy seems awesome. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's going to be a Hall of Famer in the NFL. But I wouldn't have assumed much less not the Hall of Fame. What did he make it, 3 years, 4 years out of the league?
Basically, I mean, and if you saw what happened with his older brother at Ole Miss, it's the same deal. I mean, the Ole Miss program at that time, hopefully it's going to change under Lane Kiffin, but it was talented but toxic. And so,
Right.
there wasn't a good culture there, even though it's been proven now what he's doing at Liberty that there's no doubt Hugh Freeze can coach. It's just, what was going on inside that program at Ole Miss.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jason.
Jason.
Appreciate it.
Some interesting insight, of course.
Build us a weight room and we're not playing.
Yeah, if you missed hour number
Must
one,
be Jeff's cousin.
if you missed hour number one, we're talking about the fact that Bishop Sycamore, which is a online only prep school in Ohio, was able to land on ESPN on Sunday, taking on IMG. They told ESPN that they had numerous Division I prospects on their roster, and our good friend Tom Luganbill, who called the game midway through it, not even midway through it, early in the second quarter, they realized that they had been duped and said that they tried to verify names, tried to verify these Division I talent members on this team. They could not do so. They feared for their safety in this game. And anyway, the school, Bishop Sycamore, as we mentioned, ended up playing on Friday night and lost 19-7 on Friday, with the same kids turned around and tried to play a game on Sunday against the defending national champion IMG, and they lost 58-0. Or no, they lost 58-0 last year, I believe it was.
No, it's 58-0 yesterday.
Oh, okay. Was it 58-0?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on that conversation. You can get in on if there's a game or two coming up this week that got your interest, as we get a ton of college football games starting on Wednesday, going all the way through Monday. Obviously, the big ones that everyone is talking about, you have Georgia and Clemson on Saturday. You do have, I'm looking at this list, Ohio State, Minnesota on Thursday, Penn State, Wisconsin on Saturday. You got Alabama, Miami on Saturday. Just kind of looking around. You got Louisiana and Texas on Saturday as well, Drew. And that one's intriguing. Billy Napier and Steve Sarkisian, a 3:30 game on Fox.
Yep, and we saw what Billy Napier did last year to a fellow Big 12 team on the road.
Yeah.
To start the season. He shocked Iowa State, and Iowa State ended up having a good football team. Ended up going to the Big 12 championship game. So this is a dangerous opener for Steve Sarkisian. Hopefully Texas is going to be ready to play. Of course, if they win the game, they're going to win the national championship, I'm sure. They'll join Georgia and probably Oklahoma and some of these other fan bases that have basically crowned themselves before the season. But it's going to be interesting to see that opener. I do think considering what they did last year, that Sark's team will be ready. I don't think they're going to take Louisiana lightly. I think Louisiana will give Texas a 4-quarter battle, but Texas should win that game in Austin. But it's a very intriguing opener, no doubt about it. But, again, I'm also kind of intrigued with Notre Dame and Florida State on Sunday, just simply because I want to see if Mike Norvell's team's any better. They're certainly recruiting at a much higher level.
They got McKenzie Milton at quarterback.
I mean, yeah, they had the quarterback battle going on. People were wondering who was going to win that. But, and we've got, Jackson West from Huntsville High. I mean, he's, we talked to Gene Williams when we tragically lost Bobby Bowden at 91 years old a couple weeks ago. And Jackson West is actually someone that's been mentioned by the coaching staff who may play a role as a freshman. So, I don't think he's going to start, but certainly he could play. So that's another, storyline to watch. I mean, and if FSU could shock Notre Dame, that would be the best thing ever for, the ACC, which is Clemson and the Clowns right now. Because,
no, it would.
Because Notre Dame is not a member of their league this year officially. So I still would have to favor Notre Dame, even though the game's in Tallahassee. But I'd like to see – it's going to be intriguing to see how much improvement Mike Norvell and FSU have made.
All right. And it's time for my Northern Iowa Panthers to shock Iowa State. That is my goal on Saturday, is to have Northern Iowa. It's going to be an uphill battle. Iowa State is much improved. All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to get in on the show. A little bit of college football talk. Yesterday, though, baseball talk. Do got to mention this, because this is what you heard.
1-2 coming. Crushed. Left field. Auto line. That ball is out of here. 2-run home run for Austin Riley. And it's 3-0 Braves.
Braves take care of the San Francisco Giants. Take 2 out of 3 in the series. 9-0 yesterday. Jorge Soler and Austin Riley hit the long ball.
And I believe the return of Ian Anderson.
It was.
And so that's huge for the rotation for the Braves. That he's healthy now, it looks like. And that was a big bounce back. They got shut out themselves, 5-0, I believe, on Saturday. And so they bounced back and take a series from arguably the best team in baseball. I mean, they still do have the best record in all of Major League Baseball, the San Francisco Giants.
84-46. Yep. Yes, that is the best record in baseball by 2 games over the Tampa Bay Rays.
And the Tampa Bay Rays are a machine right now, too. So you got to give the Braves a lot of credit for winning that series and being so impressive 9-0 yesterday. Just a great all-around performance. Basically put a stranglehold on Giants. And I understand Joe Namath played for the Jets, but the Jets have been inept for so long. But
now schedule's reversed, though, because now the Phillies have a series with the Nationals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Phillies have been playing a lot of the West Coast teams, the Giants. So I think they can play with these people. Now, I don't know about beating them in a 7-game series, but I think they can play with them.
Well, now they get on a plane, and they have to take on the Dodgers today out on the West Coast. The Phillies are in the nation's capital as they are taking on the Nationals.
Yep.
So when the Braves were beating up on the bottom teams in the league and the Phillies were having a hard time with the Giants and the Dodgers, now it's a flip of schedule. The Braves have the Dodgers, the Phillies have the Nationals, so we'll see. Remember, the Phillies struggled with the Arizona Diamondbacks last week, one of the worst teams in all of baseball. Because the story now coming out of New York is the fact that there's a trio of Mets players, Javi Baez among those, that are now doing the thumbs down sign when something goes good for the team, because they are booing back at the fans who were booing them when they were playing bad.
Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. You only make $15 million a year. Shut up and play baseball.
Mets president Sandy Alderson says in a post-game press conference that the thumbs-down gesture during the game was a message to fans who recently have booed them. These comments and any other gestures by him or other players with similar intent are unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Mets fans are loyal, passionate, knowledgeable, and more than willing to express themselves. We love them for every one of those qualities.
And we stink as an organization.
After the game,
we completely botched our draft pick.
After the game, Javier Baez talking about, this is just too funny, talking about the thumbs down gesture.
What is the thumbs down celebration after a big hit mean?
Just the booze that we get. You know, we're not machines. We're gonna struggle. You know, we're gonna struggle 7 times out of 10. And you know, it just feels bad when we strike out. When I strike out and I get booed, you know, it doesn't really get to me. But like I want to let them know that when we success, we're gonna do the same thing to know how to let them know how it feels. You know, because if we win together, then we gotta lose together. You know, and the fans are really big part of it. So, in my case, they gotta be better. You know, I play for the fans and I love the fans, but you know if they're gonna do that, they just putting more pressures on the team, and that's not what we want.
No, Javier Baez needs to be better because he's never lived up to the hype anyway. I'm sorry, he's overrated. Give me a break. They don't really get to me, but I'm gonna give him a thumbs down. You just contradicted yourself, you moron. There's another moron award right there.
Oh boy. All right, we are all thumbs up on this show this morning because when we come back, need to bring in our final guest of the morning.
Yes, we do, and it's Brad Edwards. He's got a new book out, Dynasty by the Numbers, Alabama Football. This is a guy that was formerly of ESPN but is still a media force. This new book coming out, outstanding, and we're going to talk about his new book, and we're going to talk some college football with one of the best voices in the business, and Brad Edwards will join us next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. Still working with a clean slate this morning. Traffic's been moving along nicely. You be careful on that trip in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks, and that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
We know it's lonely at the top, but we don't mind.
National championship number 18. 13 in all. Absolute perfection.
Roll Tide. Join us on Saturday, September 4th as the Crimson Tide brave the storm against the Miami Hurricanes in the season opener on your home for Bama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
As you just heard, 97.7 ESPN The Zone will indeed be your home for the Crimson Tide Sports Network all season long, and it starts Saturday, 2:30 in Atlanta. Alabama taking on Miami in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl Classic. We'll see. We'll see what De'Aaron King has to offer for Miami. We will see what Alabama can do, what Bryce Young can do to start his career as the starting quarterback at Alabama. What will that defense look like? A lot of numbers to look at going forward. But what about the numbers in the past?
Well, I mean, and what about this run under Nick Saban? Year 15, hard to believe already. Time flies when he got here in 2007. But our next guest has just written his first book, and it's Dynasty by the Numbers, and it details why this decade-plus run under Nick Saban is the greatest in college football history. And we know you've heard him on The Drive with Stephen West, but it's an honor for the first time to feature Brad Edwards, who's now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline after publishing this book. And we're really excited about it, really excited to pick his brain when it comes to Alabama, and then just talk some college football because he follows the sport very, very closely, as we said. He's been a media fixture for many years now in the sport, but he's with us now this morning. Brad, welcome to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this as we get close to starting another season. It's amazing to me, as spoiled as Alabama fans are and should be, how excited they still are for the new season and the chance to do it all over again and see if they can win another one. I've had the chance to speak to 3 different alumni chapters in the last 2 weeks, and they are quite ready to go. And I would assume that a lot of people listening are in that boat too.
Yeah, obviously you look at the numbers, and you delve into it. I mean, it's not an easy thing to say, hey, let's put this in a book form. Let's make this into a book. What made you decide to delve into the dynasty at Alabama?
Yeah, it was one of those things where the way my career worked out at ESPN, and for those who don't know, I spent the last 25 seasons covering college football there, and for quite a while, some people will remember I was focused on the BCS, and specifically like the BCS standings and that whole formula that determined who was going to play for the national championship. And then after the BCS went away following the 2013 season, I kind of had to figure out, what's my new niche going to be? And, having always worked with numbers, it was just kind of natural to stay in that realm. And what I started doing and trying to perfect was the idea of telling stories through numbers. And so what I would do is that I would, go through and look at things that I thought were really interesting about certain teams, and I would put together features for SportsCenter, and they still do some of them today. It was a thing that we created called Numbers Crunch, and so I spent so much time doing that specific to college football over the last 6-7 years, something like that. And obviously, if you're doing college football stuff, you're going to be doing a lot of Alabama. So I was very well aware of some of the things that Alabama had done statistically in this era that were frankly amazing. And so I knew that there was a lot there. What my question was after last season ended and I departed from ESPN was whether there was enough to do an entire book. And as I started to dig into it, I realized there was some really interesting stuff that I had not even thought about at that point that I've come across since. So that's kind of where it started. It all came from my background through work and the types of things I've been focused on, and it's just amazing how much is there. But you know what? It takes a long time playing at a very high level for any team to be able to compile enough of this stuff to write a whole book about it. And I made the comment in the introduction or the preface to my book saying that there are only two teams in recent years that could have even had a book like this written about them, and that's Alabama and the New England Patriots, because you just got to do it so well for so long for it to even be a possibility.
And Brad, one of the most stunning things that I always just shake my head about is that Nick Saban has more first-round draft picks than losses.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are just so many ridiculous things like that when you start to really focus on him and what he's been able to do. And obviously, the book is focused on the program, right? But we know that implicitly it's about Saban and what Saban has been able to accomplish really since year two. And that's the focus of most of this. It's whether you choose 2008 or 2009 as the starting point for it. There are so many things that are really unprecedented within the course of college football history. And, when I started to write it, the goal was to really lay out for everyone to see not just that Alabama's been the best team in the country over that span, because I think that's obvious. I mean, even the people who hate Alabama will admit that at this point. I wanted to show how much better they've been than everyone else in the sport over that time. And while I was doing the research, what kept coming up, these things that had never been done before in college football history, or things that had been done very rarely, but had been done, more by Saban's teams than by everyone else combined. And as I started to come across those things, that's when I realized, hey, the other part of this book is that no one for 10 or more years has ever sustained something at this level the way that Alabama has.
When you started putting all these numbers together and starting putting all the stats and started going through everything, was there one that kind of stood out the most to you?
There were a few that after I dug down and I found the answer to what I was seeking, I just kind of said, this can't be right. Like, I've got to double check this. I've got to triple check this, because it just seems too extraordinary to believe. And so one of those, and I guess this one is kind of relevant going into this first game because it's a streak that's still intact, but I'm sure you have listeners out there who are aware that Alabama hasn't trailed since the third quarter of the Georgia game last year. So they finished the season going the final 37 quarters without ever trailing. And when I realized that, I was like, you know what, that's got to be unusual. Like, there can't be too many teams that have done that. So I started looking up, all right, who's the last team to do that? And I found that 2013 Florida State actually went 38 straight quarters without ever trailing. But that streak ended in the first quarter of the national championship game when Auburn went up 7-0 on them. And so my next question was, all right, what was the last time a team finished a season with a streak that long? Because, I mean, obviously you've got to play, if you're going to, win that many games in a row, you're going to play a really good team in the bowl game to end it. And so I started going back and back and back. And I'm not going to give you the exact answer because I'll let people find that in the book if they're interested. I'll just say this: if you're 60 years old or younger, it didn't happen in your lifetime.
Wow!
The last time that a team finished a season on a streak that long of not trailing at any point, and obviously they enter this Miami game. It's a little bit of a different category now because we're crossing over seasons. But yeah, they enter this Miami game having not trailed for the last 37 quarters they've played.
Yeah, that's a stunning stat there, and that's why I still think, I know it was a COVID year, but this Alabama team was one of the best, I think, in college football history, and maybe Saban's best team. You've seen them all, Brad. I mean, as you said, you were with the ESPN for 25 years. In your mind, where does this team in 2020 rank among Saban's?
Oh, to me, there's no question that was his best team. And I realize the only way you can have these conversations is looking at how good the team was relative to the rest of college football that year.
Mm-hmm.
What was the rest of the competition like? I have no idea. I mean, like you said, it was COVID year. It was really unusual. There were lots of strange things. And I thought Saban did such a great job of just keeping the players focused despite all the distractions and getting the best out of them. Maybe he just did so much better of a job at that than everyone else did that it made the team look like they were, so far above everyone else in the sport. But whatever it is, I mean, the scores are there and they're there for history. And I just think when you look at having played one game that was decided by 14 points or fewer, and you look at some of the teams that they faced, especially late in the season, it's just amazing what they were able to accomplish. And I think that, by the numbers, that team is in the conversation for best team of all time, college football history. But I don't think there's any question they are at the very top of that list for the conversation of best offenses of all time. And that was something else that I laid out in the book. And so I don't even think that there's another Alabama team that you could put up an argument for being better than that one as a team. Maybe there'll be another one that had more talent if you want to just look at it strictly from an NFL standpoint, although that would be tough too. But I think from a pure team standpoint and what they were able to do on both sides of the ball, that's got to be the best one.
I think it's – I mean, have we run out of words to describe what Nick Saban has put out there at Alabama?
I think what's unfortunate about it is that I think we've become numb to it. I mean, sure, we've run out of words to some extent, but I think we've also just gotten to the point where we've accepted it and we've just grown to expect it. I mean, you look at what they're going into this season having lost. They were I mentioned this in the book. Alabama last year was the first team since Yale in 1909 to have 6 consensus All-Americans on one team in one season, okay? They lost all 6 of them. I didn't check back to see if that 1909 Yale team lost all those guys the following season, but you could make an argument, and especially when you look at where those guys end up going in the NFL draft, you could make an argument that it was the most talent that's ever been lost from one team from one season to the next. And yet, everyone in the country is rightfully, putting Alabama up there as one of the top contenders for the national title. I know a lot of people aren't picking them, which is somewhat unusual, but they still have them in the mix. And I think that says everything about how much Saban has just kind of defied the odds with what he has been able to do and what you expect because of that track record. And, I just think that, again, here's what I would say. I hope that people who get this book, whether it is when they first read it or whether it's when they take it off the shelf 10 or 15 years from now, that they will have a greater appreciation for what they've watched Alabama do over the last dozen or so years. Because teams aren't supposed to do this. You're not supposed to be able to reload and just proceed as if nothing happened. Not just with the talent they're losing on the field, but you look at the coaching turnover. Okay, there's so many things that they have had to deal with that have just not fazed them so far, and it just like you said, you lose words to describe what Saban has accomplished.
And as we're continuing to spend time with Brad Edwards about this book, Brad, let everybody know how they can get it.
Yeah, so most of the time people hear about a book, they immediately want to go to Amazon. The book is not on Amazon. It's only available on my website if you want to buy it online, and that website is BamaDynastyBook.com. BamaDynastyBook.com.
To get this outstanding work from Brad Edwards, who, as we continue to talk college football with him, I want to just circle back to this one more question for you about this 2020 group, because you were able to see this program evolve and develop. To me, I think the rise of Mac Jones has probably been the most just for me the most amazing story of the Saban tenure, just simply because who he was following. You saw Jalen Hurts had his success, and then Tua Tagovailoa kind of took the position to the next level. But I don't know that, myself included, anybody saw Mac Jones becoming what he did a year ago. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I certainly didn't see him becoming, what he was in 2020 and, what the numbers turned out to be. Now, I was very big on him going into the season. As you probably guessed, I'm really into analytics and looking at some of the advanced stats. And the main thing that I always looked at with the quarterbacks is the total QBR metric that ESPN has. And ending the previous season, I know a lot of people fixate on the 2 interception returns for touchdown and that start at Auburn. But over basically the second half of the 2019 season, when he was kind of forced into being the starter for a few games, Mac Jones' total QBR over that span was second in the nation to only Joe Burrow to end the season. I mean, it was better than Trevor Lawrence. And you look at some of the plays that he made against Auburn and against Michigan, and those were good defenses. And I was pretty sure that that he was a much better quarterback than people were assuming that he would be. Now, of course, there was that minor thing of losing Judy and Ruggs, and how could you not think that was going to have some sort of impact on the offense? And yet, look what they all did. I mean, it's not just Mac, but but you look at what Devontae was able to do, especially after Waddle went down. And look, I know there's a tendency to kind of downplay this stuff when a guy leaves the program. But I thought Steve Sarkisian also just had a brilliant season as far as calling plays. And it all came together. It was like the perfect storm. But I think Mac has shown here in the preseason with New England that he was no fluke. He wasn't just a product of great talent around him, that he's pretty skilled himself. And you just wonder, is Bryce Young the next one, and is there another one after that? Because it's been a pretty good run of quarterbacks recently for Bama.
Yeah, a pretty good run at quarterbacks, but also a pretty good run at coordinators. I mean, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators coming in, coming out. 6 or 8 coaches now that he's got to replace. It is amazing to see the coaches go out and come back in and replace them every year, but the productivity stays the same.
Yeah, and one of the things that I can't sit here and say that losing coordinators is a positive thing for the program. That there's no question that the net result of all that is negative because of the changes that have to be made, and especially on the recruiting front when you talk about, having to send new people out there and start new relationships with recruits and all that stuff. But I do think there's a silver lining, especially as it applies to Alabama's offense, which is that over these years, if you're a defensive coordinator in the SEC, you have a really difficult time getting a bead on Alabama and what you think they're going to do offensively. Because even though they're still basically running the same offense, they all have their own wrinkles, right? And so once a guy like Sarkisian is there for 2 years and you think, okay, all right, now I know what he's going to do. He's going to use a lot of motion. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Not only have they replaced him with someone else who's going to have his own wrinkles, but now they have a new quarterback with a different skill set from the one before. And this has been going on since, I don't know, probably since, I guess, Kiffin left, as far as the coordinators. But as far as the quarterbacks, I mean, the last time Bama had back-to-back starting quarterbacks who were pretty similar in skill set, I guess, was from McElroy to McCarron. Mm-hmm. But since going from McCarron to Blake Sims, it's like each quarterback has been replaced by a guy who's not all that similar to him in the way that they play. And it's just allowed Alabama to just continue to have new looks offensively. And so I think that is a silver lining, that it's just made it really difficult for defenses to really figure out what Alabama's doing and to be able to really prepare for it.
And my final question for you, Brad, we really appreciate the time. And as we said, Dynasty, by the numbers, his new book about the University of Alabama and this 15-year run now. It's going to be year 15 under Nick Saban. Have we got a big enough sample size to be able to have an idea of how good Bryce Young is going to be? And then to piggyback off that, your thoughts on Alabama this season coming up?
Yeah, I don't think we have a big enough sample size yet. In fact, his numbers weren't as good in the brief amount of time that he had as, let's just say, Tua's were when he was getting some good action as a backup before that. Mac, it's so hard to say just because Mac had 4 games as a starter, before his first full season as a starter. But anyway, it's kind of wait and see. Of course, the other part of it is Bryce doesn't have as much coming back around him as the previous quarterbacks did. So it's not just a wait and see with him, but it's a wait and see with all these guys. And, how are they all going to mesh together? Because there's a lot of inexperience there. And I think you'd be foolish to ignore that and act like it's not a big deal. It is, but every indication we've had, so far is they would, should be able to replace it. My take on the season is really it's relative to that inexperience, and especially the inexperience on offense, which is that it should be an issue. But when you look at the schedule, there are only a few teams in the country that have the talent overall to get Alabama on an off day. And none of those teams play Alabama until the 13th game at the earliest. And then we're talking about Georgia possibly playing them in the SEC championship game. And, look, at that point, inexperience is no longer a factor once you get that late in the season. And so I don't think the inexperience is going to bite them. I mean, you get the Florida and A&M games relatively early, but those are teams that they really lost just as many, if not more, key pieces on offense than Alabama did. And then, of course, you got the opener against Miami, which isn't at Alabama's talent level, but they do have a lot of experience. And I got to say, the first 10 weeks or so of the season, I'm probably more worried about Miami than anyone else. Like, if I had to rank them, I'm not super concerned, but that would be the most concerning opponent to me, just because of the difference in the amount of experience between those two rosters, especially, with Alabama's offense.
Great stuff. Well, Brad, thank you so much. And once again, let everybody know how to get this outstanding book, the first of your career after such a long, great run with ESPN, BamaDynastyBook.com. But let them know how to get your book, man.
Yeah, so once again, BamaDynastyBook.com if you want to buy it online. And if you're going to be on campus soon, like maybe for the home opener next week, stop by the Soup Store or the Bryant Museum, and you can find it on the shelf there. Look through it and see if you want to buy it.
Absolutely. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
And also with this book in the next phase of your career, but you've done such a great job, and we really appreciate it. We hope we can catch up again soon, talk some college football with you, but we appreciate you coming on to promote this great work.
Yeah, thanks for the conversation.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys, and give me a call anytime. Happy to join you.
Thanks. Brad Edwards with us on a Monday. Great conversation, great insight there to the book, sharing some numbers and great insight as to the dynasty of Alabama that Nick Saban and company have created. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning. Still working with a clean slate this morning. Traffic's been moving along nicely. You be careful on that trip in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hit deep toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Your tomorrow's headlines today. Just recap what we did at the top of the hour. Buckhorn High School is this week's 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Problems, though, for Alabama linebacker Quindarius Robinson. That news coming out early this morning.
Was involved in, I think, a 3-car accident on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Ended up with a DUI. So probably, I would say, this late in the game, not going to be available. Now we've seen,
his bond was set at $1,000. Was
we've
Quindarius
seen this happen
Robinson
before. Back in 2015 in March, Geno Smith had a DUI. Now he still played in the game. And a lot of people were raised eyebrows about that. But it happened all the way back in the spring where they handled the discipline beforehand. I don't think that's going to happen with Quandarius. He's, of course, from Jackson Owen High School, in Birmingham.
Would he have seen the field a lot on Saturday?
Special teams. I don't think he would have seen a lot of time on defense. So we'll see. And, of course, people are already asking, does this mean the team's unfocused? And it happens in every program, man. You can't keep, 100-plus guys out of trouble all the time. Somebody's going to make a poor decision. Certainly Quandarius did. Hopefully he can bounce back from this and be a big part of the program going forward. But certainly I would be surprised if he's available against Miami.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
It helps Alabama. That's probably the deepest position on the football team. I mean, you're talking about studs everywhere on the outside. Matter of fact, it hurts Quandarius from the standpoint he could fall down the depth chart because there's just so much talent right there.
All right. We want to get your thoughts on opening week of the college football season. It is here. It starts on Wednesday, goes all the way through Sunday. We mentioned the NFL season. The preseason is over. Now it's up to – now today's a dark day because this is where a lot of guys will get released. They'll see their NFL dreams kind of maybe dashed as the 53-man rosters are built. One of those that is not getting cut, the question is, will he be a starting quarterback? And that is Mac Jones over Cam Newton. And Mac Jones being asked the question if he deserves to be the starter.
Do you think you've played well enough to be the starter?
What'd you say?
Do you think you've played well enough to be the starter?
I mean, I've gotten a lot of opportunities to play, and I can improve on everything that I want to improve on. So I think just learning from Hoyer, Cam, Jarrett, anybody I can, and just listening to Josh and his coaching. There's a lot of work to do, but I think I've made progress. But honestly, it's just the only thing that matters is today, and then tomorrow I'll focus on tomorrow. But I think the past is the past, and we're kind of moving on to the new season here.
Going to be interesting to see what they do with Stidham, because I mean, they're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks, Scott. I mean, are they going to work out a trade? You wouldn't think they'd cut Hoyer because he's a vet. They might.
I don't know.
I mean, personally, I'd cut Cam Newton, and then I'd just go with Mac Jones, and then Hoyer is the backup, and maybe keep trying to develop Stidham because I just don't know how good Cam is. But Cam will probably start the season. I don't think he'll hold on to the job. But if I would think if they do that, then Stidham might be the odd man out because he was a 4th-round pick. But I don't know how much value you'd have for him because he didn't, play that well last year. And again, Hoyer is just such a valuable veteran backup. I mean, certainly he would be picked up by someone as a backup QB, but and he's kind of a Patriot guy. So
yes,
it's going to be it's going to be really interesting to see what they do and which quarterback gets let go because it's not going to be Mac. He's there.
The other big story is that the Deshaun Watson to the Miami Dolphins talk has not died down. In fact, it picked back up over the weekend. GM Brian Flores refusing to say the Dolphins are not interested in Watson.
Coach, regardless of any talks with other teams, unfortunately this fan base would like to hear the team say they're not interested in Deshaun Watson. Would you say that, feel comfortable saying that?
I mean, I would say I'm interested in the players that are on our team. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in, Reed Sinnett, who went out there and played, his butt off tonight. I'm interested in Jared Dokes, who we talked about, a second ago. I'm interested in the guys who, that didn't play today, that, we're focused on our recovery and being fresh for next week.
That's head coach Brian Flores, not GM Brian Flores.
Yeah, the GM being Chris Greer.
Yeah.
But head coach Brian Flores. And to me, if the Dolphins make this move, it's asinine. I mean, they would be giving up 5 picks, which is just really a mistake. You don't even know if Watson's going to be available this year, first of all. And Tua Tagovailoa, I think, can be as good a player as Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, it hasn't happened yet, but he can develop into a great player. And if you're the Dolphins, you've got all this draft capital to build around him and build your football team, and you'd be mortgaging it for Deshaun Watson. To me, it's stupid.
What is not stupid is you can join us tomorrow morning from 7 to 9, right back at it. We'll be here in studio, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You got the Czar coming up from 10 to 2, 10 to 12, and then you got the Drive tonight, 5 to 7.
Yeah, you do. Thanks to Brad Edwards, Bama Dynasty, DynastyByTheNumbers.com. DynastyByTheNumbers.com. Pick up his book, and also special thanks to Brett Norsworthy as well. Everybody, stay safe out there.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliance